Not yet.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. There's a big echo. Who's echoing? Who hasn't got their headphones in? Right, it's gone now. Whoever panicked. Thank you very much. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. I hope you can hear me lovely and clear, because I hope you can, because I spent a lot of money on this bloody microphone. So if it's not working, I shall be pissed off. I hope you're well. 2 wins to talk about this evening. Absolutely unbelievable. But before we crack on with the podcast, a few things to say. Obviously, thank you to our sponsor, the West Cork Beard Company. Link below in the description. If you've got a nice big beard like Harry or a nice half beard like Dan, you might want to treat yourself to something to make it even better. And also, my auntie actually owns a garage over here. And she's got into doing some competitions. There's a link in the description below. I'm not being paid for it or anything like that. I'm just helping out because I'm a member of the family. She's running a competition at the moment. You can win yourself a 4K Apple TV box. Link is in the description below. Follow the link, follow the instructions, and enter. Judges, how are you, sir?
How are you doing? All right. Your auntie ain't got a sunbed, is she? Because it looks like you've been on one. Like, I mean, what's going on?
No, I think it's this light. I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
What is it? A sunbed light or something? You've been under
No,
it.
I took the toaster apart, so the toaster's on and the light coming from the toaster.
Oh, right, like, you know what I mean?
I'm a bit clever like that.
You're looking very well, mate. You're looking very sharp. I've seen some good photos of you in your younger days as a goalkeeper.
New camera, innit? New camera, new microphone.
Yeah,
and new camera, new microphone, new lights. Thanks to everyone who watches this channel, because I've used nothing but donations to buy all this. So thank you very much indeed, everyone who's watching. I'm
just saying that, McDonald's have got mega Big Macs back now, like, you know what I mean? So feel free.
Well, I did have a lot of messages actually from people saying, "Why did you turn the super chats off? Everyone else had super chats. Why did you?" So I switched them back on.
Yeah. right decision, like, you know. Especially after you lost your job as well. You know what I mean? Ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But I didn't want to.
I would say that was dumber than a dumber situation, really. But there we go. Like, we
there we go. The Colvin Red Bull new member. Look, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. I'm a member. Right,
all right, we'll move on to the next person now. Have you been drinking again?
No, I'm just high on Arsenal winning a game.
Right,
and not only a game, I thought were absolutely fantastic. It was a great game to watch, brilliant performance, and that's what I like to see about it. That's why I'm an Arsenal fan, to see games like that. It was absolutely brilliant from start to finish, and I've fallen in love with the Arsenal again after that performance.
Excellent.
After going through the mill, I would have to say that on the Thursday, absolutely going through it. All the emotions of Thursday was to go to Leicester and have a comfortable win like that was fantastic.
It was, I have to say. Harry, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. I've recovered from like a bit of food poisoning over the weekend. I was KO on Saturday. I tried to call in sick for my commentary job. That's how bad it got. But
wife's cooking, Harry?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, to be fair to her. It was someone else's. I don't want to name him, shame him on the podcast, but it wasn't the wife's.
Oh, right. Well, that's
Hey, judges.
Yeah. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? That
kind of obvious. Kind of obvious whose it was then, but yeah, I won't say anything either. Dan, how are you, mate?
Very, very well. Thank you, mate. I am very well. And like Judges says, how can you not be?
after a good weekend. Just makes the weekend go better, doesn't it, when you take 3 points? So, yeah, real good. Thanks, mate.
Blimey, Harry. These two are happy tonight, aren't they? Christ. Huh?
I know, and do you know what's amazing as well? They've talked about what a wonderful win, but nobody mentioned the word rotation.
Rotation. No.
Oh, yeah.
No
We
word
ain't got
of
there yet.
rotation.
We ain't got there yet.
We ain't got there.
And introducing a man, I'm sure, that needs no introduction, but he will get his introduction because I've been trying to get this man on this podcast for about 5 years. If I counted up every DM that I've sent him, I'd be a millionaire by now. But no, Chris Hudson has joined us finally this evening. Chris, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on here. A guest I've wanted on for years and years and years. You can ask Lee that. So thank you very, very much for agreeing to come on. It's an absolute honour to have you on here.
No, I'm honoured, mate. This is the best podcast there is, so I'm in quite salubrious company. Don't worry about that.
Big Max on the way to you, Chris. After that comment, Big Max on the way.
Can I just say something? Chris Hudson, right, by the way, is the reason that I got involved with AFTV, watched Arsenal Fan TV. The interview that he done, that first ever one.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Was the one.
That was a long time ago. That was 2013.
Was that really? 8 years ago, but that was the one that started everything. It was from the heart, and I think every Arsenal fan that watched that could relate to it, and that was why I think AFTV is what it is today. Whether that's a good thing or not, Chris, down to you.
Blame Chris.
It's all down to you, Chris. It's all down to you.
Yeah, I awakened an angry animal, I think.
Lee, let's start with you, mate. 7 minutes into the game, we go 1-0 down. I don't know about you, but I flopped back into my seat and went, I do not believe what I'm watching. 7 minutes, 3 defenders, 3 professional footballers who call themselves defenders, all run to one man without the ball, leave the man with the ball, a free run into the box, and we're 1-0 down. Talk me through your immediate reaction.
I tell you what, I went into the studio on Sunday because I obviously, as you all know, I did have a bit of a meltdown on the Thursday of the game. I just couldn't. There weren't nothing to do with people that upset me. It's just I thought we was going out, and I said to myself, whatever happens today, I'm not going to have a meltdown or whatever. Like, but after that first 7 minutes, I'll tell you, the defending in that. You could pick out so many players. First of all, Granit Xhaka, who I thought, other than that mistake, was absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. He was brilliant. It was probably him at fault because what he should have done was just a professional footballer. You boxed in, you play down the line. It's as simple as that. That's what you do. He tried to play a little intricate 5-yard ball to William, who got pushed off the ball. And from then on, where's Tierney? I'd like to know where he'd gone absent without leave. I don't know where he was. And then as the player, Tielemans, has run from virtually the halfway line to the 6-yard box and has not been touched or got anywhere near. It's beyond me in a professional game of football. I can't believe it. Like, you know what I mean? All he done was run. And when he got into the 6-yard area, he just smashed it in. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. El Neni, who's supposed to be in there covering the back four, I don't know what he was covering. He weren't covering himself in glory. That's what I can say, like, you know. And I thought, this is unbelievable, typical Arsenal. And nothing was done. I don't know if you noticed the goal. I think our third goal was when the run from Cedric takes away the players. That's what good runs do and good defending does, and that's what does good defenders. But there was just nothing in that goal that he done. He just ran from 40 yards. It was pathetic defending. It's got to be sorted out. And do you know what made it even worse? I think Xhaka who made the mistake when he got to the 6-yard box. I can laugh about it now because we won. He smashes it in. He looks around at all of his teammates. Oh, get us out of the oven. And he just went on like that. It was unreal. None of them even wanted to get him out of it. Like, do you know what I mean? It was bad defending. I've got to say that. But we got the result in the end.
Exactly. Chris, we went 1-0 down. And of course, we're all thinking, oh, God, doom and gloom. Here we go. This is going to be 2, 3, 4. Well, I certainly was anyway. I mean, I was on a podcast in the morning before the game and I said that we didn't stand a chance. And then, of course, when we went 1-0 down after 7 minutes, I was kind of saying to myself, yeah, right again, mate. But great resilience shown by the team, Chris, to actually pick themselves up after going 1-0 down and to come out fighting like they did.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a bit like the Benfica game. Like when we went 1-0 down, we seemed to switch on. And then when we was 2-2 against Benfica, we seemed to switch on. But, we shouldn't be we should be switched on from the very first minute of the game. We shouldn't need to go 1-0 down.
Absolutely.
And I've noticed that this season, we're very careless. Every minute of every second in the game of football counts. I don't think some of our players realise that. I can think of loads of sloppy goals we've let in this season, especially in the early stages of a game. I tell you, I thought I was going to have another Aston Villa on me game.
Yes.
I really thought this is Villa Part 2. But I thought they'd come back, and in the end, I thought we deserve a win. We were the better team, really.
Absolutely. I thought we were the better team. What do you think is causing this lapse in the first 10 minutes, Chris, of every game? Like, we've conceded so many goals early. Concentration. Yeah, what's causing that? Just not switched on?
They're not switched on. They're not concentrated. Perhaps they're not prepared properly. And that might be down to the manager. But, that's another. Well, perhaps, as I was saying off record, the league, I think some of these players are psychologically damaged going back to the Wenger days. I just think we've always let in goals like that. Not just this season. It's been going on for season after season after season. We're never ready.
Yeah, you're dead right.
I think they need to get as good sports analysts in. Sort their heads out.
Well, perhaps they should. Yeah. What's that one? Who was it? Terry Venables got one in, didn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, Glenn Hoddle got one in for the England team, didn't he? What was her name?
Oh, yeah, Eileen, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Harry, let's talk.
Brewery.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
But they need something.
They do, they do. But Harry, the team selection I thought was, when I first saw it, I was holding my hands in my head. I was like, oh, God. You were hoping that we were going to go to Leicester and actually have a go at it. Should have been beaming with confidence after beating Benfica. And then you see the kind of Xhaka and Elneny holding midfielders and you're thinking, where is the creation going to come from? And then obviously I had to eat loads of humble pie. Talk to me about Arteta's team selection and why he got it right.
Yeah, it was a bold move, wasn't it, to make so many changes after a really, really, I'm not going to say good performance against Benfica. It was a good win, given the circumstances and the way we turned it around. But ultimately, Mikel Arteta has made no secret of the fact that Arsenal need to rotate this season. And he's not the only one. If you look at Manchester City, who are flying high at the top of the Premier League, they've made on average 5 changes every single game. So this incredible run that they're on is built on the ability to rotate. So it's no coincidence that the side that are at the top of the division are the ones that are the most able to rotate without it impacting their performances. So Arsenal one day need to get to that point whereby they can rotate and it doesn't damage the team too much. And I think what you're seeing now is you're seeing in some areas of the pitch that we can get away with it. And we're starting to look quite good at it. Like at centre-back, for example, David Luiz and Pablo Mari played. But it could have been David Luiz and Gabriel. It could have been Rob Holding and Pablo Mari. And I don't think anybody would have had any major complaints about it. In the midfield, we're a bit more limited because if Thomas Partey isn't there, then who partners Granit Xhaka? There's debate about that. I would probably put Ceballos ahead of Elneny, but neither of them are quite fit for purpose for me. But then the front guys are starting to show that they can be rotated as well now because Nicolas Pepe's found some form. Willian has found some form. And, you've got Saka and Aubameyang still in the wing. So what we've done over the last few months is people have played their way into form. And now we're in a position where, and, I'm not going to hold my breath and say that this is going to work every single week, but we're in a position now where we can rotate people, we can change people, and the drop-off shouldn't be as significant as it maybe once was. Which is a big positive because the way things are at the minute, we're competing on 2 fronts now. We need to, if not qualify for the Champions League via the Premier League, we need to at least improve on our league position. That's a must. And obviously the Europa League. So we're competing on 2 fronts. It's already a congested season. And I think that rotation is massive. We talked about Leicester scoring the first goal. And like everybody else, I feared the worst because you think Leicester are just going to sit back now, hit you on the counter-attack. But credit to Arsenal, from the minute Leicester scored, we dominated the game completely. So they deserve a lot of praise, every single one of them.
They absolutely do. I mean, in his press conference, Dan, he said that, his players deserved a lot of credit for the way they reacted going 1-0 down. And I think they do. And I think the most staunch person who is not a fan of Arteta would actually have to take a step back on Sunday and actually just hold the hands up and say that he got it spot on, and the players seem to respond.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I did. To be honest with you, that is what I did. I'm not a fan of the manager, as everyone knows, but I think on Thursday night and on Sunday, he got it spot on. I think the team, I was all right with the team. A lot of people, I expected it to be that. They've just come out on Thursday. Ain't going to be the same team on Thursday night. And I was all right with it. He rotated. I was a bit frustrated. I did judges. I was a bit frustrated with Xhaka and El Neni, as everyone is, but I expected it. I wasn't sitting there screaming at the team. The only person that I wanted to see that I was really, really hoping was Martinelli. But I've accepted that this manager doesn't rate him. So apart from that, I think it was pretty much what I expected. I'll be honest with you, Craig. Going down like that, I mean, when Xhaka and Willian, I don't know what the pair of them were doing there. I've absolutely no idea what was going on there in both of their heads. There was just total confusion. And then after them two give the ball away, as Lee says, Tierney's nowhere to be seen, and Pablo Mari is wondering whether he should go or not. It was just an absolute shambles, weren't it, from all of them. And I totally agree with Chris,
Have you ever played FIFA when you select the wrong player and you think you're running with one guy and you're running with the other? That's what Pablo Mari looked like, running away from Thielen.
That's actually a very good comparison.
That is spot on. That is what it is.
I do like Mari.
Do you know what? Massive fan, and a huge fan of David Luiz in that game. Actually, I thought he was outstanding. As was Granit Xhaka after that mistake. I thought that, to be honest, listen, Willian and Pepe are the ones that have got to take the credit, aren't they? Because they've turned it on massively. And I just want to mention Pepe just for 1 second, because I look at this game, and even earlier on in the season when we had Maitland-Niles, I always thought he played better when Maitland-Niles was behind him. And the reason I think it is now is because Bellerin, I'm not a fan of Bellerin, I'm not going to slate him too much, but I just wanted to make this point. Cedric came in and they combined 35 times. In the last time that Pepe and Bellerin played, they combined 7. They clearly can't play together, right? So I looked at what Cedric was doing in comparison to Bellerin on Sunday, just to see. And Bellerin, whether you like him or not, I don't feel has the intelligence as a footballer. And he's a ball carrier, Bellerin. All right, he goes forward with the ball and he drags players out to him. So you get 2 or 3 players, sometimes 3 players that come out towards him. And then what he does is panics and passes it to Pepe, who's then got to get around 3 players, right? So he then loses the ball and everyone goes, Pepe again, what a rubbish player he is. Well, actually, Bellerin's just basically shafted him. What Cedric wasn't doing was the complete opposite of that. Okay, and he was at times carrying the ball, but he had the intelligence to know when to not release it to Pepe. And he's not giving the ball to Pepe, panicking, saying, now take on them 3, mate, which, to be fair, Pepe probably could on Sunday. He was that good. But I actually thought that Cedric was really important yesterday and wasn't one that got a mention. I've been quite impressed with this signing. A lot of people slated it and said that it was a shocking decision to get him. And at the time, I was one of them. I thought, what the hell have we paid £5 million for this lad for? And we could have got him for free in the summer. But actually it's starting to make sense as to why we got him and Pablo Mari now, because they've both been useful. I agree with Harry in the fact that we had to rotate, and it is important for this game. And the reason that I disagreed with you guys a few weeks ago is because obviously we had our priorities different in the FA Cup. Our priority at the moment was obviously the Europa League, and the guys deserve a rest, particularly Saka. I thought everyone played well. Like Harry said, I thought everyone played well. Erdegaard come on and was superb. I thought when Smith Rowe come down, hope Smith Rowe ain't out for a long time. But we have to give the players credit, and also we have to give the manager credit, because I sit there and slate the manager when we don't play well. So I'll give him credit when we do play well. So I was impressed, Craig.
Fair play to you, mate. Lee, I just want to come back and we'll go through this with everyone. I've got the player ratings here from. They're not my player ratings, but they're from a website, and I just wanted to know how much you agreed with them. He's gone Leno 7, Cedric 7, Luiz 8, Mari 6, Kieran Tierney 7, El Neni 7, Xhaka 8. Smith Rowe 6, of course he came off, so it doesn't really count. Pepe 8, Lacazette 7, and Willian only a 7. Would you agree with? I thought William was certainly man of the match for me.
Him and Pepe were man of matches, as far as I'm concerned. It's very, very, very difficult to say which one. I'd probably just slightly go for Pepe because he scored, but Mari was. Well, he got
very harsh. 6, very harsh.
No way, it was 7 for the goal. There's a Lee put in the chat there, and I agree with him. 2 great names. So I'll go along with that. So what he actually said was, and it is right. When Vardy makes his run, if he goes towards Tielemans, then he just slips it into Vardy, you know what I mean? So he had to stay. It wasn't really him. I was never really looking at him to blame. What should have happened was as soon as if David Luiz, and if you look back on it, David Luiz does get across, and he could actually then say to Mari, go, but he obviously doesn't. There's no communication there. It should have been El Neni going out there. But anyway, I thought Arsenal, and I will say this in a lot. And I don't mean to be critical of Gabriel because Gabriel's done fantastically well. But since he's come back from COVID, he's been shaky. There's no two ways about that. I think when Mari's come in there, he's looked like composed, comfortable, and the defence looks a lot better. Now, I honestly going to say this now. Watching the game against Leicester yesterday, with 25 minutes to go, the game was over. We was comfortable, and that was through the defending of the team. Cedric makes fantastic runs. If you have a look at what he does, he makes runs on the outside, and that means then that for Pepe, he can play it to Cedric if he wants. But what it does is he makes the defender run out, giving him that little bit of space, and he can do what he wants to do. Bellerin plays as his inverted sort of right back, whatever that means. Like, you know what I mean? I've only heard of inverted nipples before. That's the only thing I've ever heard of. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now it's the right back. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I've never heard of it before. Like, so all of a sudden, if he's going into where Pepe wants to go, so you have to, give him the space. So, come on, guys. It wasn't. Get serious here, So that's what's happening, and that's what Cedric does. He gets out wide. He does all of that sort of stuff, and that gives Pepe the time to move around, like for the third goal. But I thought Mari was as good as anybody else in that back four yesterday. I'll be honest, And Willian, if it weren't for Willian, he actually makes the penalty. By the way, did you the burst of speed and the run from him? Either their defender was very, very slow, or because he just burst through. Not only did he burst through, go past the player, he put in the lovely pass as well. That's what we want from Willian. You know what I mean? And I thought he was brilliant yesterday. And maybe those 10 minutes cameo was good, And listen, I'm going to say this now. I had no problems with the team Craig set up. Only that Martinelli didn't come into the team. I did think, if you're going to leave Saka out, bring in Martinelli, see what he can do. But he's gone with Pepe and Willian, and you couldn't argue with that. And listen, I think there's a lot of people out there at this moment in time that would and are looking to criticise Arteta. And I'm going to be honest with him. When he brought on Willian on Thursday, I was done with him. That was it. Like, if we would have gone out of that game, there was no way back for me. You know what I mean? But whatever he's doing at the moment, he's getting it right, and you can't argue with that. Yesterday, he got it absolutely right. He put his faith in those two wide players, and Lacazette, by the way, I thought was outstanding. Lacazette yesterday, his hold-up play was immense. I'll tell you what, when he's playing up against Johnny Evans don't take no prisoners, and he put his body on the line, went with him toe-to-toe physicality-wise. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. And those three up front were so lively yesterday that it was really good. And I'll tell you what, and when have you seen a defender do what Mari done to Vardy? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. That is what we have not had defenders do. You know what I mean? Like, trying to take liberties, get down there. I loved it. Like, you know what I mean? The only thing he did do was stamp on him as he went over him. But anyway, I'll let him off for that. Like, you know what I mean? But absolutely fantastic defending that was. And I'll tell you what, that gives him an 8 out of 10 in my book straight away.
Absolutely. Chris, Lacazette. Lee touched on that. The senior players against Leicester seem to I don't know. They seem to buck up their ideas a little bit, other than the first 7 minutes. But reading a little report there that Lacazette said that it's time for the senior players to step up. They've got to stop counting on the young players to carry them. Did you see a bit of a response? Because I think Mikel Arteta said that, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago in one of his press conferences, that he's looking for the senior players to step up. Do you think the players have listened to that?
Yeah, to be fair to Lacazette, though, since Christmas, he has stepped up.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what, I'd rather have him away from home in some games than Aubameyang, because he can hold the ball up and bring people into play.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think another great thing about Lacazette, I'm not too sure he's going to be there next season.
No, I don't think he will be either, which is disappointing.
I think he's obviously he's playing for the Arsenal, but I think he's also playing to get a new contract somewhere. But, you know, that's fair enough, isn't it?
Can't blame him.
And on Pepe, going about Pepe, I've been his Leeds. I tell you, I've not been his greatest fan, but I've stopped judging him as a £72 million player, because it's not his fault he pays 72. I think properly we should have paid about 30 million for him.
Right,
so if you keep that in your head, really, I think his performances are really improved. I mean, he's got 8 goals this season, you know.
Yeah.
And another thing I noticed on Saturday, I think that might be down to a bit of Arteta's coaching. Did you notice how well he was tracking back?
It's definitely something I've noticed in his game. Yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't have seen that 6 months ago. He was playing for the team. So if he's doing that and he's doing all his good work up front, you've got a hell of a player there. So perhaps he ain't a flop after all. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Forget the 72 million. Just judge him on what you see.
Very good point, Harry. Would you agree with that? Harry, I'm pretty sure you'd agree with that, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed it, mate. I think with Pepe, as you said, the price tag isn't his fault. We know that something untoward went on there. It's why Raul Sanllehi is part of the reason Sanllehi was at the door, because of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's just maybe taken Nicolas Pepe and maybe even Willian a bit of time to get up to speed with what it is that Mikel Arteta demands from his wide forward players. Maybe that explains why Nicolas Pepe's burst onto the scene, because he didn't really do that sort of dog work previously, and maybe something's clicked. Maybe the signing of Odegaard and the emergence of Emile Smith-Rowe, and then Bukayo Saka being able to play out on the right-hand side, maybe all of those things have given him a bit of a kick up the backside, and he's now paid a bit more attention and understood a little bit better what it is that is required of him in that position.
Absolutely. Lee, you're right there, mate. What's all that about? Yeah.
That was all. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, I thought you had something you wanted to say. Dan, do you think Arteta's creating? Do you think he's creating fights for positions in this squad now, with the way he's rotating players and stuff? Because, I mean, you could argue that team that played Leicester could start the next Europa League game. You know, they played that well. You know, what's he? Would that be the thinking behind bringing in all these players and rotating them? I understand that he's got to rest players as well, but creating that fight for position, because I don't think at Arsenal we've had that before. You know, I've said it and I'll say it again. There's been lots of players who played for Arsenal who got the easy ride because there was no one threatening them for their position. Do you think that's in the back of the coach as well, or the manager's mind as well?
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of players back now as well, Craig. So he's got the options there now. He's not playing kids anymore. You know, the Joe Willocks have been allowed to go out on loan because players have come back. Obviously, Maitland-Niles is another one of those. They were both playing quite regularly when we were rotating, early part of the season, and we've now got players, Smith-Rowe, Odegaard's come in. When Martinelli is kind of sixth choice to him, that must mean that we have a lot of options. I still feel Martinelli should be given more chance, in my opinion. But we've certainly got players that he can use now. I say there's probably 5 positions up for grabs at the Arsenal, if I'm honest, maybe even 6. I think everybody could say that there's debatable with the centre-back pairing at the moment. I'm not so sure who our strongest centre-halves are, and not a lot of people can pick 2 that they want to stay with, and it seems that Mikel Arteta can't do that either. It was Holding and Gabriel for a while. David Luiz come back into the mix, and Pablo Mari, back from injury now, has played very, very well. So again, you've got then 4 centre-backs he can then choose from. I think that Cedric's put himself into contention there to probably give Bellerin a run for his money. So I look at it and think centre half and maybe even centre forward. I mean, he seems to keep chopping that around with Aubameyang and Lacazette. I think he's decided they both can't play together now. Thomas Partey and Xhaka look to be the two of his favourites, but Smith Rowe's certainly going to give Odegaard a run for his money in the number 10. So I think really you look at Saka and Tierney, and everyone else could everyone else could probably give everyone a run for their money, apart from the goalkeeper. So it's a very, very good position for Arteta to be in now, but he's got options, because this is what we need. We need to have competition for places. It would be nice for Arteta to know his best 11, but I don't think the 11 is good enough to be trusted. So I think that he is having to chop and change it. And last of all, we do need to rotate, as I said earlier, because I would go all out for the Europa League. All my eggs would be going in the basket of the Europa League. And I know people still think we can get top 4. I certainly think we're in the mix for top 6, but top 4 for me is not an option. So I think that we need to go for the Europa League, and I think we're going to need to rotate to do that, Craig.
I know we sit here and we discuss the manager every week, and me and Harry kind of stick up for him, and Dan and Lee will pull out the negatives. But when people carry on, and I'm going to come to all of you on this one, but when people carry on and they say, I can't see where it's happening, I can't see where it's changing, I can't see things getting better. I saw a really interesting graphic today, and I wish I'd have downloaded it now. That from the 1st of January. Now, look, I'm only using this as an example of how things have got better. It's, the proof is in the pudding. If the season started on January the 1st, we'd be 4th. So we can all agree, Lee, that he's had a poor first half of the season. But should we not be praising him for the way he's turned it around this half of the season?
Not at the moment, no, because he's been messed up when it mattered, didn't it?
Is that not a positive that he would be? That if it was the first, is that not a positive for him?
What's the positive?
We can all sit here and say we can't see it, but there you can see it there.
Well,
there is massive improvements of this second half of the season.
What's the positives? We're 10th in the league.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Tottenham, out of the FA Cup. No chance of Champions League. So, no, he blew it in the first half of the season. He's got a lot of rebuilding to do. And what he's doing, from that point of view, he's doing well. But I'm not going to go overboard about it and start going, oh, this is the best thing.
I didn't ask you to. I just merely asked you, is that not a fact to see that he's been doing better this half of the season?
Well, yeah, if you want to look at it like that, but
thank you for your answer, Chris. What about you? Would you say
the season's not one half, though, is it? It's no good playing.
I didn't say that, did I? It's
no good winning 1-0 and then losing 3-0 in the second half, and then saying, "Oh, but we had a positive first half." No, I'm sorry.
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say that, did I? If you listen to the question I asked. The fact is there that he's had a better second half of the season.
Well, yeah, the facts say that he has, and rightly so, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he's still not... I'm not one that's going to be going singing from the trees about his praises at the moment, because at the end of it, it's not good enough for Arsenal Football Club.
Excellent. That's all. Yeah, brilliant. I'm not singing from the trees either. I'm just using it as a fact.
Well, I'm just using it.
It's a podcast, and what my job is to do is to bring topics to the table for us to talk about. Well, Chris, what would you say about that, Chris?
I'd think if I was judging Arteta, I know Lee's moaning, and he's got every right to about where we are in the league, etc. But if we go back to the beginning of the season, remember the last season ended, and we didn't have a pre-season, and we went straight into this season. So I wonder if there was a bit of a burnout of our players in the first half of the season. And I think that's why the first half of the season, the results are pretty bad.
But the argument to that is, Chris, is that everyone had to start the season again quick, you know?
Yeah, but look, our squad may not be as good as everyone's.
Very true.
But if you was asking me for the second half, I'll say there are signs of improvement, but there's still the same mistakes getting made.
Yeah.
And until we erode them, I don't think you can. I think you've got to give him a bit of leeway, because how many Arsenal managers are managing a pandemic?
Yeah, true.
You know, wherever, I don't care if Man City win every trophy this season, but there'll be a massive asterisk next to it, because there's no fans, and fans do make a difference in the ground.
Harry, would you?
Also, we'll never know.
Well, we're never going to know. Yeah, not in these, not for the last couple of seasons anyway. But Harry, what would you say about that? You know, I'm sure you saw it. That league table that was drawn up.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I think you're right. It obviously highlights that we've added.
Who was it by? Dumber and Dumber?
Dumber and Dumber. Here we go again. Dirty grandpa. Let's get on with it. No, I think it does highlight that. Obviously, over the last couple of months, the league form's been better than it was previously. But I kind of get what the guys are saying. You can't really give him loads of credit for it until he actually gets us back to somewhere like where we need to be. So for that, I'm a little bit. And look, we got to still be a little bit cautious. You know, we went and won at Leicester, but we could easily go and lose at Burnley at the weekend. That's been the problem this season, right? It's been consistency. And, you know, you sit and you look at the team, and we were just talking about the squad and that there's competition for places now in certain areas of the pitch. And I think that's what you got to be looking at right now to judge how Mikel Arteta's doing. Because Mikel Arteta, make no mistake about it, has come in to rebuild this squad. So the results are important. Of course, they're the most important thing. But when I talk about the progress under Mikel Arteta, I look at different factors, and one of the factors is increasing the competition in the squad. There seems to be a better spirit, I think, among the group. There was something else I was going to point out that's just completely gone out of my head as well. Yeah, all right, mate. The nature of the goals we're conceding, right? They're bloody frustrating because they're all of our own sort of making. Yeah. But you can look at that in two ways. You can either look at that and say, we're useless, we're all over the shop. Or you can look at it and try and put a positive spin on it and try and use it as a positive and say, well, aside from that, we're actually defending very, very well at the moment. And that is in our control. You know, we're not going out on the pitch and getting blown away by teams that are miles better than us. We're going out on the pitch and we're causing our own problems. So I think in a time like this where you're rebuilding, where you're trying to build something for the future, because as much as Arsenal fans don't want to accept it, you know, if we don't make the Champions League this season, obviously we'll be disappointed, but it ain't going to make a damn bit of difference as to whether Mikel has his job next season, because he will. So for me, you got to look at the wider picture, and part of the wider picture is developing and how we do that. And I think looking at it and going, yep, all right, they are mistakes, but we know where we're going wrong. You can't fix something if you don't know what it is, right?
Absolutely.
I just want to say one thing on that, and it's a great point that Harry makes. When was the last time we went to a team in the top four and totally dominated away from home? And I think that was down to the defensive foundations of the team. Yeah. You know, so when you look at it like that, and there has been a steady progress, even when we was poor. We always say, right, defensively we've been a lot better. So we are getting it right in that defensive area. And as Chris alluded to there, cut out the silly mistakes. Yeah, we're going to be a lot better going forward.
Or score some more bloody goals. I mean, is there? Dan, I'll come to you. Is there in the last 10 games? Have we been played off the pitch by anyone, or have we just been the masters of our own downfall?
I wouldn't say we've been played off the pitch by anyone this season. It's been a bit of a crazy year, hasn't it? I think Harry's spot on, which is crazy for me to say, but I think he is. And I think that when you look at... Mate. I know, mate. Unbelievable, isn't it? No, I do think, listen, we are defensively better. The stats don't lie, we are. And I think the individual mistakes are frustrating. What I fear with this manager is the players that are making the individual mistakes are the ones that I think he wants to keep in the team. That's my biggest concern. So I hope that isn't the case. Because for every Bellerin mistake, we see Cedric passing it back. For every holding mistake, we see Granit Xhaka making them. And all these players are playing most games. So that's what frustrates me. And I'd like to see change in the summer, that we can get upgrades on these players. But I feel what we've seen change, and I hope it's this, and I pray that it is this, is some of the dead wood that's been removed was clearly causing some problems, not just on the pitch, but in the training ground as well. And we see the Schalke situation at the moment with Mustafi and Kolasinac, which is just hilarious. I mean, they've been there a month, and they're trying to get the manager sacked already, if you believe reports. So you think, really, is that something that is happening already? I don't know. But something has changed within our dressing room. It seems to be a happier place. The spirit seems to have lifted. And I hope that the Ozils and Mustafis and Kolasinac is leaving. That little clique has disappeared, and that has improved us on the pitch. That's what I'm hoping, because I wanted them guys gone a long time ago. And now that we've seen them gone, it's definitely improved us on the pitch. So let's hope that did have something to do with it, and it weren't just bad coaching.
Absolutely. Just before we move on to some questions, I've got lots of questions in the chat. Just to remind you that our sponsor is the West Cork Beer Company. The link is in the description below. Go and support Colin. All handmade beard oils by him at home here in Ireland. And of course, if you're looking to, if you want to enter, you can win yourself an Apple 4K TV box. Link in the description. Follow the link for all the information. If you do enter, good luck. Chris, this one comes in from Liam. Thank you for your kind donation, Liam. Cheeseburgers all round. That is enough for one. That's enough for one each, actually.
And change.
Euro, well, €5, isn't it? €5 saver menu. How much are they now?
Oh, we got 99p.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, you can have the change. I really want Cedric to be the first starter over Bellerin. The team looks more dynamic and forward-thinking with him in the side. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Totally. I think Arsenal fans have been a bit disingenuous towards Cedric. He's not a novice. No, he was a very good fullback for Southampton. I think he played about 200 games for him, Portuguese international. And I think whatever we paid for him was a bargain. I am to love him. He's a proper defender. Yes, I would. Unfortunately, Hector, you're going to lose your place, mate.
Well done, Chris. Well said, Chris.
Dan, we'll bring you on that one. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, listen, 100%. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Hector Bellerin. I think that there's rumours or reports, whether you believe it or not, that he might leave in the summer, and I'd be happy with that if we could get some money for him and we could look to upgrade on it. I don't think Cedric's a definite 100% he's going to play and take us forward right back, but he can certainly come in there and do a better job than Bellerin. Whether he's the answer, I'm not so sure. Mark Partridge, 79p. Look at that. Unbelievable. Not even a cheeseburger.
Not even a cheeseburger.
But certainly, I think that I'm with Chris. I think we look a lot better with Cedric in the side. And it took him a while. You know, he come back from an injury and he weren't looking like he was going to be the answer to us. But listen, I don't hate Hector Bellerin. I don't. 8 years at the club, and he's tried his best. But I don't think he's the answer. And he's made too many errors for me. And I don't feel like we are a better team with Hector Bellerin in the side. So I would 100% agree with Chris. I know Harry's going to disagree.
What right back would you sign in the summer if you could?
I would go for Lamptey from Brighton, because I think he looks young, vibrant, and someone that I think could be potentially superb. So I'd go for him.
I'm getting to the stage now where and I don't mean this horribly against Brighton, but I want them to get relegated so we can nick a couple of their players.
Yeah, absolutely. Bissouma as well. Yeah,
it's bad that I'm thinking like that, because they play really good football, and Danny Welbeck, I don't want to see him get relegated twice in 2 seasons. But there is that part of me thinking, well, if they do get relegated, we could raid them a little bit. And that's a bit out of order. Sorry, Brighton fans, if anyone's listening. But
what about you, Harry, on Cedric?
I like Cedric. I think he's a really good fullback, and I think he deserves a lot of praise because he's come in the side and he's not just played at right back, he's played at left back as well.
Inverted.
Inverted. And like Judge's nipples. And don't underestimate.
My little, not saying my little.
That's what was going off in the chat. Don't underestimate how difficult it is for a fullback to switch sides. We see wingers do it quite a bit. But when you're having to defend on your wrong foot, it's a different kettle of fish altogether. But I do think, no surprise that I'm going to say this, I do think that Hector Bellerin gets a lot of unwarranted stick. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if people hold him accountable for some of the failures in years gone by because he's an Arsene Wenger player. I really don't know what it is. When Hector Bellerin tucks inside as a fullback, that is an instruction. It's not something he does off of his own back. If you watch Manchester City, where Pep Guardiola's learnt his trade, their fullbacks do that all the time. Cancelo basically is a centre midfielder when Manchester City have the ball. That's just the way they play. And I think it's a tactical thing. And I think that he feels that Bellerin is maybe more suited to play in that way and Cedric maybe isn't, or it maybe depends on the winger that's in front of them as to what the fullback's instructions are. But like, people give him stick about that. I don't really get it. I don't really get why people give him stick about the way he dresses and the other things he's interested in outside of football, because that's completely irrelevant. Yeah. For me, there's a lot of unnecessary abuse that goes towards Hector Bellerin. I think it's unfair. At the end of the day, let me just remind you guys that there's only one Arsenal fullback that PSG were prepared to pay 25 million euros for in the summer, and it wasn't Cedric Suarez.
Absolutely. Unique 79, if you're still there, mate, could you put your question back into the chat box, please? Because I've lost it and it's moved on. So if you could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. This one comes in from Pramod, and he says, knowing Arteta is an experienced coach, would it be better for Arsenal not to qualify for the Europa League so he'd have all week to prepare for the challenge for the top four? Lee?
Yeah, I've got to say it's a good point, but I think Arsenal and their financial, because of the way we are, we need to be in Europe. And I also think that club with Arsenal stature needs to be in Europe as well. I don't think it would be, for me, I don't think it, as a fan, it wouldn't bother me if we had a year out of the Europa League if we didn't win it this season, I'll be honest. And it gives us a little bit more time to prepare teams and all that. But because Chelsea done it and got success, it doesn't mean to say that we will, you know what I mean? So I'd like to see us in Europe at some capacity. Obviously, I'd like it to be the Champions League. But, am I being deluded or not? Or am I being dumber and dumber? There's still a chance we could get into the Europa League through league position, So, we need to get on a good run. So it's a difficult one that, about Europe. I have to say, I can see two sides of the argument. And unfortunately, I've got splinters on my bum because I would sit on the fence about that one, really.
Spinning on his bum, inverted nipples, Jesus.
Yeah, me. Dan, I'll come to you on this one. This one comes in from Jashir. Thanks very much, mate. Fellas, we lost ground in the
fence, Harry.
Fellas, we lost ground in the Premier League when we changed the formation, and Partey, who was key for that change, wasn't available regularly. Dan, would you agree with that?
Well, Partey's been a huge miss this season. I mean, when we bought him, everyone was excited, and I think he's played you can't even count 10 games, I don't think, so far, can we? So I think that he's got a point about that in terms of Partey. I think that changing formation has probably worked a bit. I think we got set on this three at the back for a while, didn't we? Because it was so successful against Chelsea and Man City in the FA Cup, and obviously we then continued to do that. I think Arteta was always probably wanted to play four at the back and wanted to play either a 4-2-3-1 or perhaps in the future a 4-3-3, and I think that it is working better for us at the moment. I think the four at the back situation is definitely something that we seem settled with. And defensively, I think we've been able to do that because we certainly have improved. We're not getting spanked 4 or 5-0 now. You know what I mean? It is getting to the stage where if we are losing games, then it's frustrating to lose by the odd goal. And most of the time, that's a mistake, like against Aston Villa or Wolves. But I think that he does deserve a lot of credit, the manager, for changing things up and sticking with it. But I'm still not 100% convinced. And like you said earlier, Craig, we definitely have improved in terms of the results being top 4, whatever you said, from this year. That's certainly the case, but we need to go on and run and show some form of consistency before I'm going to start being convinced. That's what I'm looking at now over these coming games towards the end of the season, is just consistency.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I brought up the point about the fourth place post because I found it interesting. Doesn't mean that I'm using it in any way to say, oh, keep Mikel Arteta. It was just an interesting graphic that I saw, and I thought I'd bring it up to discuss. That's all. I mean, I don't, truly believe I'm not using that as some kind of trophy to say that, oh yeah, look, leave him alone. We're fourth place after, in the end of January. I know that we're not good enough. I know that being 10th is not good enough. I know that I know that the way we're playing hasn't been good enough, and I know that perhaps Mikel Arteta hasn't been producing the results. Well, we know that he hasn't been producing the results good enough, but I just like to bring in a little bit of positive because we hear so much negative about him. So just trying to weigh it up, that's all. Chris, this one comes in from Unique79. There was a £10 donation there, so thank you very much indeed, sir. Much appreciated. Just to rain on our positive parade, it's frustrating because when we are on our game, we can beat anyone. We just need consistency, which we do not have at the moment up the Arsenal. Chris, massive, isn't it? The consistency that's running through the team at the moment.
At the moment, but we still, I don't want to sort of keep repeating myself, but we still are prone to making stupid mistakes. We've got to get that out of our game. We can't keep on going behind. We can't keep on giving stupid goals. We can't keep on missing goals. I mean, well, did you hear that fact? Out of 25 league matches, we'd failed to score in 10 of them. Yeah. That ain't good enough. So,
it's not good enough.
There's a lot of things have got to be behind that, but I think given the time and a fair wind, I think Arteta could be the man to do it.
I agree with you, but what's he got to do? We know when we say we're making these mistakes, how does he stop it? Has he got to go into the transfer market? Does he stick with what he's got and hope that the coaching in the summer gets into their head? He drills it into them. What's he got to do for you, Chris? Do you think the squad as it is good enough to get in the top four?
No, it's not good enough to get in the top four. But the trouble is, I'm glad you brought up the subject of money. I mean, Arsenal's financial state is quite frightening.
Yeah,
because I think they're going to announce losses of last season, 60 million. I think this season's going to come in around about 144 million. And then you got to add 160 million on top of that, the government loan.
Yep.
So that's a lot of money. So unless Stan's going to dip into his own pocket, I think the only way we're going to improve the squad, we're going to have to sell to buy. Or we're going to have to look in the youth system and promote some kids. But all that takes time. You can't just do that at a click of the finger. So, you know what I mean? We're in a bit of a very tricky situation, you know.
I think
people have got to realise that.
Harry made a good point about a couple of weeks ago, you know, that it's not going to be a transfer window that we're going to be used to because, like you rightfully say, there's losses there. I think the only positive thing I can find out of losing money is that Kroenke might actually sit up and think, oh, I'm losing money here. I think I might sell up. You know, so to sell us on would be nice. This one comes in from Richard. I'll start with you on this, Lee. Do you actually believe that Barcelona want Mikel Arteta as manager?
Not at this moment in time, but I think that it depends on what he does at Arsenal. That they may well go down that route. Like, you know, the only thing that I think the only minus mark against Mikel Arteta at the moment is inexperience. I think that's what it is. You know what I mean? But like, you know, Pep went and managed Barcelona from no one else, so there is that. Listen, I think Mikel's got an unbelievable opportunity to stamp his authority and become whoever he wants to if he becomes successful at Arsenal. Now, to do that, I think he's got to make some difficult decisions and perhaps leave out a few of his favourites. One of them being Bellerin, you know, as we just spoke about. But I reckon that Bellerin will be playing in the next game at Burnley. I think he'll be running out with his tight shorts on. He's from the youth section of the Armoury, and he'll be playing. But for me, I think that he's got an opportunity. He's got an opportunity that no other manager's ever had at Arsenal or coach. You know what I mean? Everybody's had it. Like, to get one of the top jobs without no experience is an unbelievable thing to be given, Craig. Unbelievable. So we'll just have to see how. But does
I mean, we've spoken about that before. It doesn't surprise you that a person like Mikel Arteta has got the job at Arsenal, does it?
No, because of the way that it's gone. You know what I mean? And listen, I think that, you know, even me and Dan, Dan's a little bit further down the line than me about Mikel, but I think that we both agree that we there, first and foremost wanting to do well, and I think there are things that we see that he could be successful. I do feel that there are things there that I can say, well, yeah, I think he could be successful. But then you know, the last two games, whatever way you look at it, he's done fantastically well. I know he wasn't great against Benfica, but I've been calling him out, saying, look, is he going to change things to when we're losing 1-0? Is he going to change things to make it? He done that. I never agreed with it, but he done it and it worked. So you have to give him credit for that. And as I will say, we've gone to a top 4 team in, I can't remember the last. Leicester are a good side, guys. I don't care about what anybody says. They're a good side. And we've gone there, apart from a silly mistake, and dominated a game of football. When was the last time we done that? So you have to say, and you can't turn around and go, when we win, the players done really well. When we lose, it's the manager, or it's keep blaming the players and all that. Somewhere along the line, you have to give the manager as much credit as the players. And whether you think that's flip-flopping or whatever you want to go, what you ever want to way you go it is results. And when I see things like that, I have to say, well, hold on a minute, I've got to hold my hands up. That was either ingenious managing, or he was lucky. At this moment in time, he's done that. One way I will say this about Mikel Arteta, I do think we go to these big away games now. We don't probably do ourselves justice or whatever, but we're losing 4-5-0. I'm not coming out of Anfield at half time 3 or 4-0 up. Chelsea 3 or 4-0 down. I'm sorry, 3 or 4-0 up. I'm dreaming. 3 or 4-0 down or whatever. We go to these away games and we're totally never in it. Whether you like it or not, on most away games this season, we've been in with it, in with a chance. So there is some sort of... And could he go to Barcelona? Well, listen, what's that player? There's a player that was playing at Braithwaite or something. He's playing for Barcelona. So if someone like him can get playing for him, then Mikel can manage him. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Talking of, Chris, I'll come back to you, mate. Buy to sell. You were talking about buying to sell and this, that, and the other. I'm not saying that we should sell this particular player that I'm going to mention, but I just want to. I'll come to everyone really. Who is the biggest asset that we've got at the moment? I probably think it's Saka, isn't it? The biggest asset that we've got.
You can't sell him. I'll burn the ground down.
Yeah, exactly. But how much is he worth in today's market, Chris, do you reckon?
Saka, with his age potential, 150 million.
Absolutely, I'm with you on that one. I've heard people saying 80. I don't. I'd go way over that. Dan, would you agree with that?
Pepe was 70.
Well, yeah, if Pepe was 72 million.
I'm with Chris. 150 million because he's young, he's English, which always go for more money in this league. I'd say he's 150 million spot on. I mean, and even that I would actually consider, because I honestly believe, Craig, he's showing so much consistency at the moment. I think it'd be very hard to replace Bukayo Saka. I really do. So I would go 150. Yeah, I would.
Harry, what about you?
How much is Saka worth?
How much is he worth? If you were a manager, if you were manager of Manchester City and you had unlimited funds, what would your first offer be?
65.
Okay.
That would be my first offer.
Yeah.
And you've also got to remember we're in the middle of a pandemic, and you guys are talking about more money than Neymar's gone for, than Kylian Mbappe's gone for.
Yeah.
And as good as Saka is, and we love him because he's an Arsenal player, he's not worth 150 million. I don't think anyone bar Lionel Messi in his prime is worth 150 million. So I can't go up to that figure. It's too high for me.
65 mil. What about you, Lee?
Well, if I will say this, even in the pandemic, Manchester United were prepared or were looking to pay 90 million for Jordan Sancho. Was Sancho, whatever his name
Jordan
is?
Sancho, yeah.
Jadon Sancho.
Jadon Sancho.
100 million they're going to pay.
100 million, like. Well, I can tell you this now that Saka's better than him.
Yeah.
So
that was what I was going
with a pandemic or not, you know what I mean? Like, and realistically, 150 million. I know, like, that's a lot of money, but and I wouldn't sell him anyway.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying we should.
I don't think I think like 150 million, when people turn around and say, oh, he's not worth 150 million. Yeah, he's not worth 150 million, but that's what's going to have to get you to
exactly my way of thinking.
Yeah, well, what I say he was worth is probably like, you know, Harry's right. You got to think about the pandemic, but this pandemic will be over this time next season. Fans will be coming back in. It's, you know, a lot of people keep going on about lots of money being lost and all that, like, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not as much as what they think. You know what I mean? Like, it's all TV. They're getting all that TV money still. You know what I mean? Which was never there in the first place. Yeah. So, you know, I think Arsenal earn $3 million a year, $3 million a game on games. So if you work it out, they get 20 games. You know, it ain't these millions and millions of pounds that Weber, and everybody's losing that money. It's not just one team losing that money, and it's, you know, they're not earning the money. That's the thing. Is between losing it and earning it. They're not earning it, and but they're still getting their little cake, little TV cake. Don't worry about that, like, you know. So there's going to be money available. Obviously more with the likes of Chelsea and Manchester City, because they've got owners, and I think Everton, I think they're going to come through this probably a little bit better, because their owner, who was of course formerly of Arsenal, will chuck in a few bob as well. Like, so I think he's worth at this moment in time probably about 80 million, but Arsenal would never sell for 80 million. Guys.
No, of course not. I'm not suggesting that we should sell him. I just wanted to use him as an example of an asset.
He's our best asset without a shadow of a doubt.
I just want to bring this one in. This is my boy, actually. Bobby says hi to you all. Up the Arsenal. He's a massive. He sits down. He actually sits down and watches this. He sits down with his bowl of Weetabix and watches it. He likes Lee for some unknown reason.
Can you like? But you know, you should give him a dinner at night. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, he's had his dinner. He's a growing boy. He's 5, so he needs to eat.
I hope he ain't got beans on them. That's all I'm saying. Like,
no, he hasn't got beans on them. Chris, next season, I've backed Mikel Arteta all this season, and I'll back him till the end. But I did say a couple of weeks ago that if he gets backed in the summer and he uses transfer funds wisely and he brings in players that he wants to bring in, I said that he's under pressure from day one for me. If we find ourselves languishing around 7th, 8th place, October, November of next year, I think it could be curtains for him, Chris, don't you?
Possibly. I think his aim next season, far as I'm concerned, we must come in the top 4. That's the bottom line. And if he achieves that, then I'll give him another contract. Yeah, right. But then that's where I am with him. But I think if we were languishing 12th, etc., mid-table, I think he could be under a lot of pressure. But then you got to ask yourself: Have Arsenal got what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think Arsenal really want to get rid of him. I think that the present regime want to give him as much time as possible. I don't think there's no idea to get rid of him. I think
I agree.
They'd have to be in the bottom 3 for them to sack him. Seriously, I think they're going to give him as much time as possible to make a go of this job.
Although you think they're going to give him enough time, do you think they're going to back him with cash? I know you're quite concerned about how COVID will impact the transfer window and how COVID-19 will impact the club as a whole. But I mean, bottom line is we've got an owner here who's a billionaire. So
yeah, but he don't act like one when it comes to the Arsenal.
Very true. Very true.
You've got, you know what I mean? Basically, anything we generate, say we sell Bellerin, Lacazette, we get some money in for Willock, Nelson.
I mean, there's Lucas Torreira, there's Guendouzi. There's
Guendouzi. Yeah. I think that'll all go in the pot to bring in players. And we're going to have to be a little bit clever in the transfer market. You know,
Dan, sorry, Chris, carry on.
I don't think, you know what the Arsenal are like. It doesn't matter if there's a pandemic or there isn't a pandemic. But when it comes to being in the transfer market, we are a little bit careful and a little bit tight. We just got to realise that, I think.
No, I totally agree with you. Or careful and tight and wasteful. I would put.
We have wasted a lot of money.
Yeah, wasted a lot of money. Dan, any chance at all that Arteta is backed from Kroenke's pocket? I'm not talking about like Chris rightfully says that it might take to sell the players. I mean, there's a list of players there we could get rid of to generate funds. But any chance at all that money comes straight from Stan Kroenke's wallet?
Well, it hasn't done since 2008, has it? Self-sustaining business model. I don't think so, Craig. But they could surprise us. We were told to be excited only a couple of summers ago. We haven't been it yet. So let's see what they can do. I think this needed now. I think this is a team that needs some money to be spent on it. And it needs to be spent wisely, Craig, because we have spent a lot of money. We have. Unfortunately, we've spent it on, look at what we've spent it on. Absolute nonsense over the last 10 years, in my opinion, the most expensive front three in the Premier League we've got, but you wouldn't know it. We have very, 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 very bad buys in the Chakas and Mustafis of this world. But I look at it and think that is an old regime. This is a new regime. And I will say that Arteta and Edu's recruitment over the last 3 windows has been probably 3 of the best windows we've had in a long time, because Thomas Partey's come in the door and been good. Obviously, we like Gabriel, Pablo Mari we've discussed, Cedric we've discussed, Martin Odegaard looks like he's a good signing. Kieran Tierney, I think was a great signing, either under Emery, which was still under the new regime. So that's a lot to be excited for. I don't think we need to spend a lot of money, Craig, either. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I think Basuma would probably set us back 25 million or so, and that would improve our midfield and be an upgrade on Xhaka. Lamptey or Aaron's, people are talking about in the chat, would probably cost about the same. So, we're not talking about 50 million, 80 million a player here. It just needs to be spent wisely.
We need to be smart in the transfer window, Harry, this summer, don't we? If we're to improve next season.
Yeah, we do. And I think Mikel Arteta has been quite smart in the transfer window, as Dan's already pointed out. And some of the other names are people like Pablo Mari, not a massive fee, Cedric Suarez, Matt Ryan coming in on a loan deal, but he's going to be a free agent in the summer, so Arsenal can snap him up as a backup goalkeeper for free. The Martin Odegaard thing, really smart piece of business. You're talking about a top quality player that lots of clubs had their eyes on for years and years, just hasn't really worked out where he was, and they've picked him up. So they have been smart in the transfer market, but I do worry, like Chris, about what the summer's going to bring. Not because I'm expecting this incredible transfer window where we're going to go and spend hundreds of millions of pounds, but because when we don't do that, which we're inevitably not going to do because of the current situation, everybody's going to kick off again, and that negativity is going to creep in again. And then the first sign of trouble at the start of next season, if we lose a couple of games in our first 5-6, then all of that's going to start again, about the lack of investment, the lack of ambition, when actually we should be realistic and understand that it's not going to be like, I know what Lee said, the pandemic's not going to last forever, and I agree with that, but this summer window is only, 4 or 5 months away? So it is going to have an impact on that, and we need to be prepared for that, I think.
Absolutely. Lee, next season, I know we shouldn't really be talking about next season now, but I mean, what is it for you that the manager has got to do to make sure, like Chris says, I think every Arsenal fan, including me, is top 4. I'm expecting top 4, but if he gets backed, I can't expect him to get top 4 with this squad if he's not backed. So if he's not backed, where do we go? Where do we go from there? But if he is backed, how long does he get? Does he get a full season for you?
At the end of the day, when you have to look at it now, like he's not the only team. Say if everybody gets back, someone there's going to be 4 or 5 teams that are not going to be happy. You know what I mean? So, because he doesn't get into top 4, then it doesn't mean I don't think that he should be probably looked at sacking. Like if we are where we are this time next season, then he's got to go. But if we're chasing top 4 and we miss out like quite by a point or 2 points and all that, and there's improvement, I think that the Arsenal board will say that we're getting where we want to get. But for me, there's still a long way for him to do that, and he needs backing. But if he's going to be backed, I'm pretty sure that Liverpool are going to get back in this season. Tottenham will get backed. Everton will certainly get backed. And then you've got to look at Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea. They're sort of the 3 teams that you would say, because of their financial clout, should be guaranteed of top 3. And then you've got Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, Leicester you can't rule out, and Everton chasing for that other spot. So you're not, because you're Arsenal Football Club, going to be guaranteed of getting it. But we've got to be challenging for it. Got to be challenging for it.
Absolutely. Right, I think we'll leave it there this evening. It's been another great chat. Thanks to everyone in the chat box for coming along and listening to us. Nearly 500 of you watched us live this evening. Thanks to everyone who became a member this evening and gave a super chat. It is much, much appreciated. Harry, thank you very much for your time, sir.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me, as always.
Are you doing a podcast this evening?
No, done one already today.
No, done one already. Going to bed. Dan, we do have a team talk on Friday. We do.
Yeah, 7 o'clock on Friday. We've got shows all week. It seems, Craig. It's exciting,
we've got shows
isn't
all
it?
week. Yeah,
exciting.
Me and Lee are gonna not me and Lee. Me and Mark are gonna have a bit of a laugh tomorrow. We're gonna choose our all-time Premier League 11 that comes on. That will start at 7:30, and it's not just Arsenal, so it makes it even harder. So that should be quite funny.
Tough. That will be a good one. But yeah, Friday at 7 will be team talk. And I'll just say as well to Harry, look, this is how you wear a baseball cap. Just look at Chris, right? That is how you wear a baseball cap, Harry.
It's well cool, isn't it? Like that, I mean, well cool.
I can't win. If I wear it like this, I get told I shouldn't wear it like this. If I wear it back to front, I get told I shouldn't wear it back to front. I can't win. That's why we've gone a bit of variety tonight. Chris would have said I'm copying him with a red cap if I wore it that way.
Chris, thank you very much for coming on this evening. It has been absolutely brilliant to have you on here, and I can't wait to listen to it back. Thanks very much indeed, mate. Much appreciated.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers,
Judges,
no problems.
Thanks very much for your time as always.
Yeah, enjoyed that.
I know you've got to shoot off.
I've got to shoot off.
We'll end it there. Thanks very much to everyone who watched again, and of course, until we see you again, take care of each other. And up the Arsenal.